For more on this, let's bring in John Ratcliffe. He's a former director of national intelligence and a Texas congressman. He sat on the House Judiciary and Homeland Security committees, and I set all of that up so that people know.
That attended the same fucking meeting you did.
You understand documents and classification and where things should be and where they should not be.
Complications have ensued.
And now we have a second box of documents. There might be more. We don't know. We'll see where this investigation goes, if it goes anywhere.
You don't figure a good talking to would do the trick.
Let's get your reaction to all of this that's happened in the last 48 hours.
It was a sham proposition to begin with.
Well, Dana, I think this is why, Democrats with the first batch of documents started out by saying we can't compare this between Trump and Biden. It's comparing apples to oranges.
Something else I know. My knowing what I know and somebody else knowing it is two entirely different things.
To Republicans now saying, you're right, we can't compare it. What Joe Biden did was much, much worse.
The seller had accomplices, gentlemen. Men of what passes for position in this place.
And I think there's a basis for that in the fact that, when President Trump took documents, it was reported the day that he left by a former Obama official.
What?
That those documents were taken. So everyone was aware that those documents were at Mar-a-Lago under the purview of the Secret Service. And that those records were taken under the Presidential Records Act. He had a basis for removing documents from the White House.
Hell of a way to operate, huh?
None of that applies to Vice President Biden. And what we're finding out is that documents that he didn't have authority to take, that were classified, and that he says he has no knowledge about, are being found in multiple locations now.
A failure to properly value your freedom in the promising days ahead.
And so no one can attest to the security of TSSCI, top secret documents, sensitive compartmented information for a period of years.
I give you the law.
So the problem that the Biden administration and Department of Justice has now is how are they going to plausibly bring a prosecution against former President Trump for the offenses that Joe Biden himself has very clearly engaged in as well.
I trust 2% nothing's fucking nothing.
So I think that's my initial reaction to what's happening to this issue.
August commencement to my administration stands stymied beside a degenerate tit licker.
It's pretty obvious there are a lot of questions. I don't know if you go to special counsel. I don't know if the president clears this up. I don't know if there are more documents that are discovered in other places, and we're just going to have to
Being it's inevitable anyway.
wait on that quickly.
Bill, to that point, I think that the issue about a special counsel has gone from one where it's debatable to one where it becomes mandatory.
No, we wouldn't want that.
So with regard to the Penn Biden Center, what we're finding out from documents is that
A devious fucknut.
that deal to pay Joe Biden $800,000 by the Penn Biden Center was negotiated, at least in part, by Hunter Biden and was contemplated to include an office involving Hunter Biden. But beyond that,
The 5,000 will need company if I'm to be off the hook.
the discussion by Joe Biden himself was that the staff that he was bringing into that deal included current Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, current White House counselor Steve Ricchetti.
That's a breach of goddamn trust.
So this has gone from an issue just involving Joe Biden to an actual conflict of interest involving the entire Biden White House at this point in time. So
Hazard to one, it's hazard to all.
it's really beyond debate whether or not a special counsel is necessary to look into this. It's absolutely required under the law at this point.
I don't want to talk to these cocksuckers, but you have to.
Well, it's obvious from that answer. We're just at the very beginning stages of this story.
Him and his fellow lying fucking thieves.
You would agree with that. There are a lot of layers to this, and it goes right to the West Wing.
Absolutely.
He's got to make some distance before sunset.
Very clearly. Again, I think this is a problem that, in the case of President Trump, there are very few unanswered questions.
Well, he feels you don't like him.
With regard to President Biden, all of the questions are unanswered at this point. We don't know whether or not there's 4 locations, 5 locations. We don't know if there's 10 documents or 100,000 documents.
We heard rumors you might be coming, but you can't believe every rumor.
And in the case of Vice President Biden at the time, there was never any authority to take any classified documents away.
I'd rather be lucky than smart.
Which was not the case for President Trump, who also had declassification authority. So
an apology is going to be enough.
You know, this has really become a problem for the Biden White House, and it's one that I think that all media is starting to pay attention to and can't ignore.
It's a luxury now to forego.
And they are. And that is the case. Well, thank you, John Ratcliffe. Appreciate having you on the show today.
Thank you, sir.
We'll stay in touch as this story is not done.